Right here. If you said you had the mail, it's got to get out of the way.
Tell me anything about it.
Last chance to stop before Offramp. What does that mean?
Take this exit. Turn right. Slow down.
Welcome to Offramp.
I've ruined many a Thanksgiving dinner.
Just by your presence?
By carving something other than the turkey.
Oh, right, yeah.
Would you like to supersize that?
What?
Would you like a side of fries?
To go.
Yes, sir. That'll be 5 cents a slice. After the first window, please.
Thank you.
No, sir. Not today. Can I help you?
I get the employee discount.
Yes, sir. Would you like to supersize the employee discount?
I'm going to take the voluntary furlough.
There's no mayonnaise, sir.
I'd like, actual mayonnaise.
Please pull through.
The homemade kind. You've got that.
Would you like to supersize that?
With ice.
Yes, sir. It comes with ice.
A big cup of ice. 2 scoops of mayo.
Big blop.
Big blop?
Big blop. It's called the Big Blop, sir. It's on the menu out there.
I thought that was something to do with...
Big Blop is 2 scoops of mayo, supersized fries, and a big old drink full of mayo and ice.
Okay, yeah, that's it. And
Would you like a pie or a sundae or a banana split or a brownie, sir?
I'll take the deep-fried sundae.
Deep-fried sundae, sir. Mayo?
On the side.
Yes, sir. This has an employee discount?
And a voluntary furlough.
Where do you live? May I have your zip code, please? Please pull through to the next window.
Are you going to bring that out, or should I just wait right here?
Sir, this is a special order. You're going to have to wait right there. Do not get out of your car, please.
The doors are locked.
Lock your doors, please.
You're not going to be able to...
Please lock your doors.
How can I get the food?
Please, sir, remain calm.
Do you have any of that mayonnaise already prepared?
You'll find samples of mayonnaise available to you. They're walking around the parking lot.
They're beautiful. They're very attractive.
Sir, I ask you to pull forward. Please pull forward to the third window. Please pull forward and stay in your car.
Third window.
The third window, sir. Please pull forward to the third window.
1.
It's important that
2.
you don't leave your car.
The third window looks like the front window.
Please hold still, sir. This won't take a moment, sir.
What? You guys are closing.
Saw a band last night. Snot Noggin. They were good.
Yeah.
They lived up to my expectations. Yeah, they were kind of a German, a Prussian, I should say, a kind of a Prussian oompa punk rock skank kind of band.
Is there an accordion?
There were 3 accordions. That was mostly what it was. But one of the accordions was digital, and it could sound like anything.
Oh, like a French accordion or an Italian accordion.
Just like an Italian accordion.
Yeah.
Could it sound like a gondola on a canal in Venice?
Yeah, sure. With the guy standing on the pole, you could see everything from the little hat to the tourists. Not quite sure if they should put their hands in the water or not. You know,
that's really versatile.
Yeah, they were good. Snot Noggin.
Could it sound like the whistle of an ocean liner pulling out of New York Harbor in 1922?
That's exactly the year I was thinking. Yeah, that half steam escaping from that cylinder.
Could it sound like the sound of a safety deposit box being emptied of all valuables?
At first, you would hear the footsteps of the bank attendant walking you through the vault back into the vault area.
Yes.
Into the safety deposit box area. Jingling of keys. Rustling of paper, turning of knobs, inserting of keys, opening of box, and then the gasps as you find that the box is empty. It was great.
Right, and it was, of course, an unauthorized
withdrawal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, now I wish I was there. I wish I'd seen it.
Great.
The tickets were a lot, I'm sure.
You know, I just kind of happened upon them. Yeah.
Found them in the street.
I found them at a booth in a restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah, and a wallet. Yeah.
That's fortuitous.
It's a nice new jacket, too.
Thank you. Yeah. It's made of money. Old money that you don't need anymore.
Surprise.
Yeah, there were several of us at the concert that were wearing money jackets. See, what happened was, when I found the wallet and I found it actually had a lot of cash in it.
Really?
Yeah.
But it was old money.
It was old money.
Yeah.
So I figured the person had just gotten rid of it. And inside the wallet was also these tickets.
Snot Noggin.
Snot Noggin.
Yeah, he probably didn't want to see him. He wanted him at a concert. He just left him there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Well,
Well, let me tell you what happened. As I was going through the wallet and opening it up, 3 other men came over and started to pull on the wallet. And none of them claimed it as their own, but they just didn't want me to have it. They had seen it too, and they were waiting for a time to. So we split the proceedings. I went to the.
You're kidding?
No,
that doesn't seem right.
Well, tell me this: was
They were
that
big.
your table where you were sitting?
It's actually the booth behind me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, nobody was sitting there, but when the wallet was there, it was all gone.
When you say you moved quickly, you mean you dove over the seat?
I went right over the top. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's quick.
You've been very nimble ever since I've known you.
Limber.
Dexterity.
I like to think limber.
Well, I'm going to have to say, I wish you'd played second base like that.
Well, maybe baseball wasn't the sport I should have been playing.
Well,
steeplechase. That thing where they chase the
steeples.
The steeples. They jump over steeples. They climb over steeples. What is that called?
No, that's a variety.
It's an architect, right?
Variety hunt.
Variety hunt. I should have been born. I was born to variety hunt.
Is that an Olympic sport now? Variety hunting?
They've applied, but there's certain countries that don't.
Yeah,
They
can't practice.
Well, it's the climate, and they can't finance. Right. There's a lot of equipment.
Sure.
It's not. You can't exactly start that up in your backyard.
Right. I guess if you're not, predominantly Christian nation, you don't have the facilities.
Steeples.
Yeah, right. The steeples.
Well,
it's really an oddly named sport because it's
chasing.
not much of a chase or a hunt.
Well, it's not much of a race, is what I would say. It's not much of a contest. I mean, once you actually spot the steeple, unless there's just like some tremendous,
often they play
unusual act of nature, you're going to catch it.
If you spot the steeple from a moving vehicle,
there's a challenge.
That's a challenge. Well, the challenge is then to get to it.
Diving out of a semi.
I guess the challenge for the TV networks, I'm thinking, for like Olympic coverage would be knowing when to cut away to the commercial, because there's long stretches obviously
I
where
think traditionally they don't show those events live anyway.
They don't.
It's
really?
It's delayed several hours because things can go on, nothing can happen.
Right. It's kind of like the Canadian ice melting races.
Right. Exactly. In a bad winter, that'll last for months and months and months. Yeah.
The original ice dancing was actually with sculpted ice figures.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
In other words, there'd be a human dancing with an ice figure.
Yeah.
I see, yeah. I guess that would limit what sorts of dances you could do. And some of the Latin things would be difficult, You
remember that horrible, embarrassing when the guy in the tango competition was found with his tongue stuck to the ear of his ice partner?
Oh, yes.
My gosh, how do you explain that?
He was married, too.
Well, that's what the tango's all about. Don't let them fool you.
The ice partner.
No, not to the ice princess. Not to the ice princess.
Well, not to the one he was dancing with.
So, anyway, so that made it to... But see, what I'm trying to get at is they modified the sport, and then all of the world accepted it as an Olympic event.
Oh, I see, yes.
I see what you're saying.
Once they got rid of the...
There have been a lot of sports that they've just changed a little bit from what they originally were, and they became acceptable worldwide. Remember when field curling was something? And those things
it stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, if you marred the surface of the court, you were automatically disqualified. So,
it's pointless.
Usually, it was just by default who was left at the end. The last person to play usually won because of that, I think.
Yeah.
That sport was hard for me to follow.
What's that sport over in, what's that Scottish sport with the...
chucking, no, that's... Yeah. Let's see.
No, there's the... Anytime you go to a Scottish Games, you see... What is the name of that sport?
Well, they take, they literally take like the corner support of a building,
right,
and heave it.
Uh-huh.
And then your partner has to stay there holding the building up while you're tossing the.
And the judges are inside the building. Is that correct?
The ones whose points count.
Yeah.
Why are your shoes on my clean kitchen floor?
Looks like another low-altitude flight.
I'm so tired of this.
A real bush hanger.
Every time. I try to save a little money.
All I know is if they're smuggling something on this flight too, we're getting off now.
Look, after the third time we were taken hostage, I don't know. I'm not taking this airplane anymore.
Our insurance rates are going up. Have you noticed that?
Every time.
It's really really annoying.
This is your captain speaking.
Oh, no. Now what?
We regret to inform you that the movie today is Ben-Hur 3, a 3D spectacular.
You better regret to tell us.
We will be flying at an altitude of 12.5 feet, unless we come across some trees, in which case we'll go up above them. I have turned off the no smoking sign, but, of course you realize, there's no smoking on this plane. And I've turned off the no eating sign, although unless you brought some of your own food, we don't really have any for you. This is your captain, regretting to inform you. You're going to need to share seatbelts. This is your captain. Thank you.
He sounds about 12, you know? Every time we take one of these flights, the captain sounds young.
How can we put this
Fly
belt over
under
both
20
of us?
feet.
I know. But he's actually one of the better pilots they've got. I saw him on the way in.
You can hear the trains from this altitude.
You can hear everything. You can hear beetles crawling from this altitude.
This is your captain speaking. For your amusement, out of the left side of the plane, you'll be seeing... Oh, just went by it.
What was it? Did you see it?
I didn't see anything.
Oh.
There's a
Everything
very
is
large man over
just
there.
a big blur. It just zips by when he's...
I'm a little nervous, you know?
I felt really bad for the one that tried to jump on the plane at a railroad crossing, though. He seemed desperate to leave.
We didn't slow down.
Well,
I mean,
how could
we have slowed down?
Of course not. But he shouldn't have jumped on the front of the wing.
I hope he gets a refund. I don't know if he had a ticket. Did he have a ticket in his hand?
I didn't have a chance to even ask him a thing. He was there and then he was gone.
This is your captain speaking. Hi, everybody. We will be flying at an altitude of 12.5 feet and a speed of over 500 miles per hour. We don't anticipate any rough weather, however, there are some billboards we'll be swerving around. Feel free to move about the cabin, but stay in your seats. This is your captain speaking. I'm not wearing any pants.
Oh, great.
Are you going to eat those crackers?
No, but I've got an extra pair of pants I'm going to send up to the cockpit.
Please do. I wish you would.
I'm here to apply for one of your lower-rung jobs.
Well, there are plenty of lower-rung jobs here. Did you have anything specific in mind, sir?
Something, simple.
How about something clerical, something physical, or would you prefer something metaphysical?
Something metaphysical in the copying division.
Ah, yes, I see. Tell me, why do you want a lower-rung job, sir?
Well, that's all I'm suited for.
Oh, come now, man with your clothing. That suit would place you in middle rung.
Middle rung?
Yes, you could be an advisor. You could be an account executive. You might be able to make it into sales at Crittenton's greeting cards.
I'm looking for a lower rung job because these cards, they don't sell for more like 75 cents in the stores.
No, certainly not.
No.
Our lower rung cards are
Discounted.
practically free. They're sold in groups of 3 or 4 for as little as we could possibly sell them for. They really aren't worth any more than that. The paper is flimsy, and we have a terrible time with injuries such as paper cuts and things like that. We had a vile-tasting incident of vile-tasting adhesive on the envelope. When you licked it,
I'm feeling much more comfortable than
mucilage.
I'm looking for the lower rung of the cards divisions.
Maybe you'd like to be a writer.
Yes.
If you'd like to write the lower rung cards, you might take a seat here. We have a certain few subjects we need addressed.
All right.
There's quite a dearth on the market of cards celebrating unusual events in people's lives, such as surviving a kidney stone, or perhaps...
Congratulations on surviving your kidney stone. I want to tell you, you're not alone. Hundreds of thousands of kidney stones each day have somehow managed to find their way.
It's wonderful what you're doing, but if you'd like to work on the lower rung, you'll have to be a little more metaphysical and upbeat. Think pastel. The cards will have flowers. There will be little birds. It'll look like Easter.
What about National Onion Day?
National Onion Day. We have no artwork as of yet, but I think perhaps if you were to come up with some delightful slogans for National Onion Day, you might unfortunately move out of the lower rung jobs and into middle rung.
I wouldn't like that. I want a lower rung.
Well,
What a rower.
do a bad job.
Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Onion Day. Actually, it's Onion Week, I believe.
I've got to write 7 of them?
No, there will be one card to handle the entire season. And crying is something you might talk about.
Why cry over spilt milk when you can have something of this ilk?
Yes. The metaphysical part I understand. But what has it to do with onions?
I didn't finish.
No.
You can ball a melon, so why do they make me... That's not it.
Perhaps you're trying too hard. The finest lower rung greeting card writers simply let the ideas flow from their mouth. Let me introduce you to one of our chief lower level writers, Mr. Buttercup. Mr. Buttercup.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Buttercup. And I didn't catch your name, sir.
Melvin.
Mr. Melvin is...
No, Melvin's my first name.
Mr. I don't know Mr. Buttercup's first name. Mr. Buttercup, Melvin is interested in the vacancy on the lower level of writing for a Crittenton's greeting card emporium. He seems to be having little trouble. He's a little bound up with his metaphysical verbiage.
That happens.
Could you perhaps show him some of your work and let him get the flow?
I wrote this in 1973, but it might help you now.
I think you'll really enjoy this, Mr. Melvin.
I know you want a really cheap job, and things aren't looking great. But once you think about the mobs, sit down and have a grape.
Mr. Buttercup, it was as true then as it is today. It's actually sub-lower rung.
I can only hope. I hope I can only hope.
Now come down off that chair.
I'm looking for a job from the lower of the ladder.
I believe Mr. Melvin's having a stroke. Mr. Melvin, you should calm yourself, Mr. Melvin.
I really want to get this job.
Yes, I see. I just... please, Mr. Melvin, come down off of the chair.
I really need this job.
Yes, Mr. Melvin. The pay's not very good, I'm afraid.
That doesn't matter.
The hours are abysmal.
I'll be here.
The working conditions really stress one, and the environment is akin to working in a dingo factory.
I haven't been outside in years.
Mr. Buttercup keeps his healthy colour by standing near the arc welders as they continually renovate the steel structure of the building. Now, Mr. Melvin, Mr. Buttercup, if you'll come down off those chairs...
Way up north, and I used to court your mother. She was a cold-hearted woman to me. Yes, indeed. Way up north, I tried to win her affections. I tried my best. Oh, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. But what about me, you ask? Good question. How did I come along into this world of desolation? Oh, what about me, you ask? Good question. How did I come to breathe. Well, you see, she had a sister, and that was the person. Oh, they thought I was wonderful, and you see, her sister is not the auntie I told you she was. No, honey, she's your mother. She's your mother. She's your mother. My grandparents were adopted.
Well, we haven't, that's...
Actually, my maternal grandmother was adopted. No, I've got that backwards. My paternal grandmother.
Yes, your
was
father's
adopted.
mother was adopted.
And my maternal grandfather was adopted. Now, what are the odds of that?
Did you know these people very well?
Most of them, I should say both of them, which encapsulates the majority of them, were adopted frequently before my childhood.
Oh.
Most often, you would say they were.
So how would you characterize your relationship with them?
On average.
Was their adoption a total adoption, or was it just a partial kind of
It was a
God adoption?
It was a partial consensual adoption. Partial
on both sides?
On all sides. I mean,
really?
Including the children.
They agreed also?
Yep, sure did.
Interesting, because that rarely happens.
Well, this was a prenatal agreement was drawn up. Yeah.
So let's just say Granny A.
Yeah, because I really don't want to use their names here.
So we won't call her Isabel. We'll just say Granny A.
The curious thing for me is, as popular as genealogy is,
sure,
I cannot... I mean, the records were lost, I think intentionally, of course.
Of their adoption?
Yeah, well,
I can't go beyond my maternal grandfather and paternal grandmother. I can't go past
no
there.
further back. Yeah.
Exactly my point.
How would you characterize your relationship with both these grandparents?
By characterize, he really means describe.
Caricature.
I just meant typify. How would you...
neither one of them lived in anything similar to that. My grandmother was in a yurt.
Well, that would explain. I just wonder if you ever had a single robust hug from either of those two.
Oh, you're touching on a sort of sore point now.
I thought I might be, but I thought that you were ready to deal with that.
All right. I got one bone-crushing hug from my paternal grandmother.
Yeah.
Who was hoping... She loved to wrestle.
See, we don't technically term that a hug. We would generally call that a
gloving incident or a
physical assault.
Crushable.
Mm-hmm.
3 of my ribs on my right side are deformed slightly.
Is that your mother's side or your...
That's on my paternal side.
No.
And you're a sororital twin, aren't you?
Sartorial.
Sartorial twin. You're not related, but you dress alike.
It's time to divvy up the spoils of war.
I think if we kept them on ice or salt, they wouldn't be spoiled so quickly.
We hadn't thought of that yet, because we had no insulation to keep the ice from melting right over the gunnel.
Oh, but barnacles, they had aplenty.
Cold barnacles in the morning. Nothing like that to shave a sailing man's face.
And spruce up his breakfast in something lovely.
It's a little like smelling salts. Hey.
Aye.
It reminds me of the time when we were trying to find the Northwest Passage.
Oh, we were looking in the southeast. We looked and looked and looked.
That was just before the captain discovered that the pointy end goes in front.
The one with the lady on it.
Yes.
The beautiful lady. Oh,
how many nights I spent trying to get her to come after dinner drink with me.
How many?
13 on a 10-night voyage.
13 nights on a 10-night voyage.
Barnacles all way. The gun whales would fire off all night, and I don't know who decided to give guns to whales, but it weren't a good idea.
Many a person's been backstabbed by a narwhale.
Narwhale.
Nar beast.
nor thick of night.
That's right, we'll stop you from your appointment. Well,
14th night, I knew I was boiled.
and I went to sea and took a ship.
14 days.
I went downtown and I took a dip. In a pool at the Holiday Inn, you know.
Aye.
Get the barnacles off me feet. Arr. Do you remember when the captain nailed the gold piece into the missing mast? That was before it went missing. Someone took it to get the gold piece off. You remember that?
What I remember is he took the good book to drive the spike. Now
That's what he did.
that was a bold move. Some would say sacrilegious.
Well, had it been a holy book, it would have been bad. But since it was just a good book...
It wasn't a great book, I have to admit it myself.
I had the first chapter ingrained across my forehead from my father beating it into me.
Beat the knowledge into you, did he? That's the old
yes,
ways.
I love that book.
You must be able to see that every time you look in a mirror.
I do. I can't see the end, though. It goes off my right brow.
Let's shave him and see if we can finish this book.
Let's read clean around his head. But don't forget, most of us believe the world is flat.
That's right. Flat.
So don't be looking for the end of the earth any farther than the edge of your face.
It's as plain as the nose on your peninsula. When you go around the tip and the horn, and you're sailing fast toward the end of the ocean, read a good book. I like how we can just laugh about things and later on figure out what they meant.
I only get angry the next day when I realize I've been insulted.
Oh, wait a minute, that's not funny.
Oh, well, you could have told me ahead of time.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it coming.
You tripped me up that time.
Oh, look, our bus is pulling into port.
Nothing like the modern conveniences.
Look at the pretty boats.
This show was improvised by Gary Bass, Matthew Cowley, and Dave Waterman, and edited by Sheila Daughtry.
Dave,